Welcome to the Pampered Thoughts podcast, where we are inspiring and encouraging women to love themselves as they are without shame or guilt, focusing on topics such as self-love, marriage and family, balance in life and business, and all things woman. Every week, we'll share inspirational topics that focus on helping you to overcome your struggles and limitations with lack of identity, low self-esteem, self-love, confidence, and so much more. I'm your host, Veronica, a wife, mom, speaker, entrepreneur, and more importantly, a daughter of the King. Hey, y'all. Welcome to today's episode. I hope you had a grand and pampered week. Y'all, I have to be honest. This past week, it was a little rough. I had a ton of things that I had to do, and nothing seemed as if it wanted to go right. However, I am grateful that the tasks that were supposed to be completed were completed. Everything else went on the ever growing to do list, so they'll be finished on another day. But sometimes we just have those weeks. For me, sometimes I can get so wrapped up into wanting everything to be perfect that I get frustrated when it's not exactly how I wanted it to be. Therefore, I'm still learning, y'all, how to adjust and keep pushing. I was able to speak with one of my good friends, and you'll get a chance to meet her on the show pretty soon. But she was able to encourage me. I was able to really talk and just kind of vent, because sometimes you need that time where you can just vent to someone. And it's definitely, and I can truly say, it's a blessing when you have a friend in your corner who's rooting for you to win and can find the positive in every situation. I'm telling y'all, she finds the positive in every situation. And sometimes it just really helps for you to have that type of a person, or surround yourself with that type of a person, because it helps on those days when you're not feeling so good, or on those low days when you're kind of struggling because things aren't really going your way, or things may not seem as you wanted them to be. So if your week was not a grand and pampered week, as mine, I have to say, was not, and if no one has told you that things will get better, I'm telling you now, things will get better. There's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel if you continue to keep walking. Don't stop walking. Don't give up. No matter what's going on in your life right now, no matter what seems to be overwhelming, just keep walking. Just keep going forward. Just keep moving, because there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. And eventually you'll be surrounded by that light before you even know it. And I'm going to be rooting for you every step of the way. If you need extra guidance, I'll leave my email in the description for you to contact me. You can reach out to me and we'll walk through this journey together. I truly do mean that. Even if my voice that you hear every week, every Thursday, is the only voice that is telling you that you can do it, I'm telling you right now, you can do it. No matter what's going on, just keep pushing, just keep moving, and you'll see things begin to turn around for the better. As it says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And it truly is a true statement that joy will come in the morning. Well, before I get too far ahead of myself, if you're new to the Pampered Thoughts podcast, welcome to our humble abode. If you're a part of the Pampered Princess family, or you've been here before but you haven't become a Pampered Princess, thanks for sticking it out with me. I truly adore each and every one of you. If you haven't done so already, please take some time to subscribe, to rate and review the show. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Pampered Thoughts, and Twitter at I Am Pampered, so you can stay in the know and know what's going on. I would love to know what's your favorite episode so far, because we're actually on episode 5. I can't believe it, but yes, I can. I can believe it. We're on episode 5, and I wanted to make sure that these episodes came out consistently every week. And that was one of the things that got to me last week. It was because I had so much going on and so many distractions, but I got it out and I posted it on Thursday like it was supposed to be. And so I'm grateful for that. But we have some great shows coming up in the lineup. Also, I'm going to be doing some interviews and some sister girl chats so that you'll get to meet some other women who kind of deal with some of the same issues that we deal with. We're not alone in our journey, no matter even if our journey is different from one another and we all have different paths that we have to cross, but there's still women out there that deal with some of the same things, that have overcome some of the same things that you may have. And so it's good to get the perspective and the thoughts of other women. And I'll be bringing on some women that I really think that you would enjoy and that will help all of us through this journey. And so please share the podcast with your friends, with your family. I'm sure you may know a princess who needs to hear how she can be pampered too. So don't be stingy. Just share the podcast. I truly appreciate it. And for those of you who have already shared the podcast, thanks so much from the bottom of my heart. I really do. It's so appreciated because I know you don't have to take time out of your day to share, but you did and you do, and I truly thank you for it. Like what you've heard so far? Great. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the show. If you've listened to last week's episode, Self Care, What's That? We discussed ways that we can actually end up neglecting ourselves when it comes to self care. And I gave a few suggestions about what we can do to help in that regard. But this week, I really want to focus on us ladies finding some me time. It's definitely been said a million times over that a woman's work is never done. I know I've said it and I've heard others say it. And when you have a hectic work schedule combined with trying to balance other areas of your life, it may lead you to feeling like you're spinning too many plates in the air at once. With the kids, family, work, chores, and as I said before, the many responsibilities that we have to fulfill as a woman, there never seems really to be enough time for us to be alone. Never mind trying to fulfill our own needs and our own desires. Now, with the pandemic, the restrictions are starting to become less strict for quarantine. So many of you are returning back to work, working from home, and homeschooling, schooling at home. So finding me time looks probably light years away. And this can lead us as women experiencing depression, anxiety, or just a general feeling that you are completely worn out. And besides how it affects us personally, being worn out also means that your performance and your attentiveness to all that you have going on or all the things that you must do is going to start to suffer. And as I said in the previous episode, feeling worn out and giving so much of yourself can leave you really feeling resentful towards those you're giving out to. Irritation is going to become a lot more common and you feel overwhelmed and unable to deal with some of the stressors and the aggravations that you experience throughout the day or even throughout the week. Everyone is different and each one of us have different ideas about how to find our me time. But with everything going on around us, it is a little easier for some of us, but not so much for others who maybe have children hanging on your side every day. Now can be the perfect time to find your me time. And one of the main things you have to do is utilize the time that you do have. For some of us, things are starting to get back to normal after having to be in the house for a few months. So there's more doctor's appointments, meetings for work or school, conferences, special events that are happening now. Therefore, if you have errands to run or appointments to keep, but you find yourself maybe there a little early or waiting around in your car, why don't you make use of that time? For example, you can read or listen to an audiobook in your favorite genre. You can take time to journal and pray, work on a puzzle or word search. These are some activities that actually require a certain amount of tranquility and peace. So why not use that window of opportunity to find your me time? It doesn't have to be a whole big spectacular main event, but just the time that you have, it actually works really well when you can find that peace. One of the things that I actually remember as a child is that my father would buy me a big book of word searches, and we would have word search races. We would see who could finish the word search the fastest, and sometimes he would win and sometimes I won. But actually, when I look back on it and I think about it, during those times we were focused on working on trying to find the words, and it almost brought like a peace because you were focused on something, but it was relaxing and it allowed for us to have that peaceful time, even though it did have fun included, because I really enjoyed having those races with my father. I actually believe that could be one of the reasons why I ended up actually enjoying reading. But of course, you could even just listen to some music and relax. I mean, you're there, you're waiting. That's another way to relax too. Alternatively, if you're in a more productive mood, maybe like myself, you're an entrepreneur, you own maybe multiple businesses, or you're on your break from work, whatever it might be, but you want to take that time and be more productive, you could catch up on some paperwork during that time. This is your time, so you can do with it what you wish. By doing this now, you're actually freeing up time at a later date, which actually leads me into the next pampered thought. And that's making a date with yourself and keeping it. Once a week, you can take some time to do the things that you like to do alone. To do this, though, you will need to learn to say no to people in your life. I know you love them and they all have a special place in your heart, but remember, no is a complete sentence. There is nothing wrong with saying no, especially when you're giving of yourself the majority of the time. You have that right to say no, and there's nothing wrong with it. You'll also need to learn to delegate your duties to someone else. And by duties, moms, I'm talking about the babies. I'm not saying leave the kids all by themselves to fend for themselves. No sane mother or father is going to do that. But what I'm saying is that most of the time the kids are attached to the moms like it's nobody's business. For this one night, you can have daddy watch the kids for a few hours or get a babysitter if need be. This is going to enable you to be able to save some time to relax, to relate, and release. You have your woosah moment, right? Where you can go and grab a drink somewhere. It doesn't have to be alcoholic. It can be non-alcoholic. You're just going somewhere. You're just getting out of the house. You can get some exercise or even just disappear to another part of the house if you can't leave the house. Anything that you can think to do that would allow you to free up some space in that busy head of yours, go ahead and do it. You can also treat yourself. That's the next pampered thought. This is simply really an extension of making a date for yourself. Once a month, you can go treat yourself. This can be anything from shopping, a spa day, a movie night, or even just spending time with your friends, catching up on their lives, see how they're doing, how things are going for them. As we get older and we become adults, a lot of times our friendships and our relationships begin to change, and we become wives, we become mothers, and so our lives take a different route. It can be good at times where you just have a girls' night and you just go and relax and just chill with your friends. I remember the movie, I believe it was Mom's Night Out. That movie was funny because the moms just got out and it was a whole lot of havoc that was wreaked. But it's just a good example of just being able to get out and spend time with your friends. You can do that as a treat to yourself. This is totally your choice. Go and see the great outdoors, especially if you live near a lake or a beach. You can spend a day riding your bicycle or just sitting in a park enjoying the fresh air. It doesn't matter what you do. The point of this is just so that you can have your me time. You would think that these tips of finding your me time would actually be obvious. Believe it or not, this time can be pretty difficult to find if you don't make a conscious effort about scheduling it or just getting up and taking the time. Some women are blessed enough to have a husband and a family to rely on to take the strain off, but then there's others who aren't as fortunate, unless they have maybe some friends or they may have family who are willing to help out as well. However, there are still things that you can do to make time in your life. It's definitely essential in these times that we're living in. Another key point is learning to say no. As I said before, no is a complete sentence. No means that you're setting boundaries and you're limiting what you will or won't do in any given situation. If you're a yes person, many who are known for being takers in a relationship, they can and they will take advantage of the fact that you are a yes person. Someone who's a taker in a relationship, and I'm not talking about, a husband and a wife, but just any relationship, a friendship, whatever it might be. Someone who's a taker will not care one bit about your me time because all they're thinking about is what they can get out of the situation. They're not thinking about the obligations that they're packing onto you or that they're asking you to do, because they will pile these obligations and their ideas of how they think you should spend your time with them. Saying no and setting boundaries can help you to curb those overwhelming requests you can get from all directions. Saying no and setting boundaries can help you curb those overwhelming requests that you can have coming from all different directions. I know you have your kids pulling at you, your husband pulling at you, your boss, maybe your clients, whoever it is pulling at you. Sometimes it is okay to say no and be okay with that. It may mean that you're just going to have to say no more often, but considering how much your sanity and your wellness matters, it will be well worth it. It doesn't mean that you don't love these people, doesn't mean that you don't care for them. It just means that you're putting yourself first every once in a while. And one of the pampered thoughts that you all need to know is be organized. By planning your day and your week, you can identify opportunities for your me time. Now, for me, this is something that I'm getting used to, is with the organization, because I am not an organized person, but my mom, that's one of the genes that I didn't get. I wish I had, but I didn't. My mom is like organized to the T. Everything she does is super organized. So I know she won't have an issue with this, but myself, being organized and planning things that we have to do. I love journals, and I realized I actually just like journals because they're pretty. But to actually sit down and plan in them, now I will draw and scribble, but to actually sit down and plan, my brain starts hurting. And so what I am working on is learning how to plan and be more strategic about my tasks that I have to do. And one of the things is making your list and looking at your week would help you to see where you have any gaps in your schedule. So being organized is going to be key to doing this. The more you practice doing this, the more you're going to learn where things can fit in, and whether you have family events or business meetings. It could even be as simple as going for a walk for 20 minutes. Planning those times can help you to be more intentional about your time and force you to make a conscious effort of finding your me time. While you're out on that walk, you can take a look at the world around you. We live in a beautiful world, whether you see a flower or you see a smile on a little kid's face who's outside playing. It's all there for us. You just need to be able to see it. And whatever your me time looks like to you, find it and take extra care of it. Your me time does not have to look like anyone else's. It does not have to be like anyone else's. Your me time is your me time. And if your me time is just laying around in the house, that's what it is. As long as you take that time to just gather yourself, to refocus yourself, spend that time with yourself, that's your me time. And it's completely okay how you spend that time. So until next time, stay pampered. Thanks for joining us this week on the Pampered Thoughts podcast. Be sure to visit us at www.pamperedthoughts.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or RSS, so you'll never miss a show. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Pampered Thoughts, and on Twitter at I Am Pampered. As always, subscribe to the show to catch a new episode every week. And if you found value in the show, please leave a rating on iTunes and tell a friend about us. We want to continue to bring you the episodes you love. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, stay pampered.